guys ever have that feeling that you just had something absolutely sensational and you just have that saying where you're just like, yeah, I need a smoke? Literally, that's how I would describe WWE Evolution. Holy cow. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Game Changer. This is the Evolution Review Recap episode. I'm the man who is so proud of the fact that we are done with the bikini contest. We're done with the Braun Pay matches. We're done with that stuff. And we are here talking about Women's Revolution as well as women's wrestling. I am Nate the Effing Great, and I'm being joined here by my co-host, who is indeed going to be a permanent stake here because he is going to be the master of the pre-shows, of the recaps, of the entire shows. I'm being joined by the one and only Mr. Chad Knight. Good sir.
Can I just say holy shit?
Yes, you can say holy shit.
This was more than I had hoped for. Not more than I expected, but more than I hoped for. Because the build-up to this was not that great.
Oh, man, it was not that great. It was just so lackluster. We had such low expectations for certain matches, but it just absolutely blew it right out of the water. And guys, since we are live here on Spreaker.com, feel free to let us know in the chat. I see our good friend Mr. Fretz is up. What is up, Mr. Fretz? Thank you so much for joining us here. And please, by all means, share. Tell everybody that we're doing a review episode. And hey, it's 9:30 that we're doing this, and we're still energized. We're still feeling good. Oh my gosh. This was like the perfect pay-per-view. Honestly, like I said, this pay-per-view honestly blows Hell in a Cell right out of the water. I know that it was one of those shows that was absolutely great, but the fact of the matter is every single matchup from bell to bell, front to back, was absolutely amazing. A couple missed spots here and there, but we'll definitely get into them when we talk about the matches. Overall was absolutely amazing. Oh my gosh. And the crazy thing is, they didn't even need a pre-show match. All they did was like a red carpet deal.
That was the best decision all night because any one of these matches on a pre-show would have buried it. It would have been buried and it would have been missed, and that would have been sad. Absolutely sad if any one of these matches was not part of the actual show.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Honestly, even if they would have put the Battle Royal on the pre-show, so many people would have been pissed off. But they did not.
It was one of the best Battle Royals I have seen in a long time. I mean, from beginning to end, it was just one of the best Battle Royals I've ever seen. I was a little upset with the outcome, only because Ember Moon also made it to the final too. We'll get into that, but
Yes. Let's just start talking right about it. First of all, we had a great little highlight package to start off the show, and then we get a performance just before even the first matchup starts. Holy crap, what what? Are you kidding me? So literally you're saying, okay, we know you're going to have a fun time here tonight. Here's a live performance of just bands playing off, and literally another absolutely amazing decision. I totally endorse this.
Oh, the Lizzie Hale Evolution song was amazing. Now, Lizzie Hale, lead singer of Hailstorm, she's got great vocals, and she did not disappoint in this live opening at all. And I can't remember the name of the guitarist, but I know her last name is Strauss. They've used her a few other times on stuff. She's amazing on the guitar. And then there was some dude on the drums. That it didn't matter.
We got Strauss, we got Storm, and we got some dude on the guitar and the drums. That's probably their band name right now. I guarantee it's like two awesome chicks and some dude on drums.
Exactly.
But that, of course, leads.
Let's get into the matches, dude.
Oh, please, yes. We kicked off with a matchup that I was at first disappointed that it started, but at the same time put everything in motion and put a tone to what the event was going to be. That was the tag team matchup featuring Trish Stratus and Lita taking on Alicia Fox and Mickie James with Alexa Bliss in their corner. First things first, Trish and Lita still as hot as they were when we were growing up watching them. Holy cow. And it doesn't even feel like they lost a step. In my opinion, it doesn't even feel like it.
No, and though I agree with you, I think we need to focus on the wrestling tonight.
No, I agree. I
mean, almost every woman in this show was hot. We can get beyond that, though. Yeah, Trish and Lita, I don't think they lost a step. I mean, it was like they wrestled last week.
Even though it was like earlier in the year where they were at the Rumble. And honestly, guys, we did not have a risk of Lita breaking her neck, thank God. Honestly, this was, again, a really great way. Alicia Fox and Mickie James definitely were the perfect combination to combat with Lita and Trish. A lot of people definitely had hesitation. I know I definitely did, because we were hoping for Alexa Bliss and Mickie James, but unfortunately Bliss had to pull out due to injuries. So we got Alicia Fox, which a lot of people are thinking, oh great, it's a go-to substitution. No, she put on a hell of a performance tonight. Alicia Fox looks amazing. And you put in Mickie James in there. Of course, nostalgia kicks in. It's like, oh my God, yes, 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 yes. We get to see the recap of Mickie James versus Lita, Mickie James versus Trish. I'm so okay with this.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was a good match, bell to bell. Bliss did not get involved as much as I thought she was going to.
That's true.
Which is really nice. It's kind of a change of pace, and I like that. It's just one of those things where, God damn, man, it was amazing.
Some of the things that, oh God damn, our one of our fans listening in France actually mentioned this. No snatch grabbing Mickie. I thought to myself, oh God, WrestleMania 22 all over again. God damn it. Oh man, no, it did not even need it. Honestly, the thing that really shocked me was when Stratus was going for her move, the Stratosphere, Mickie James was able to counter it. It looks like she's going to set up for like a powerbomb deal. And Trish Stratus, I think this might have been the first time in her career that she has ever done a Frankensteiner, and it was just beautiful. I loved it. It was amazing. Lita, of course, had a couple of spots here and there. She actually took a really nasty bump when she was going for the first moonsault. As you mentioned before, Alexa Bliss did, in fact, get involved. And that bump just, oh God, that just freaked me out a little bit. The ending of the matchup featured Trish hitting the Stratusfaction, getting a 1-2, should have been a 3 count, but I think Alicia Fox missed her cue, which kind of threw everybody for a little bit of a loop. But in the end, it was just one of those things where like, it's fine. Alicia Fox would get hit with a Twist of Fate. Lita would hit a double moonsault on Mickie and Alicia Fox. Trish would follow up with a chick kick to Mickie James, which, oh my God, that sell, though. That was insane. She just takes a kick to the head, and she's just stuck there. Like that one matchup where Triple H just takes a boot to the face from Randy Orton, and he's just almost like dragging it out for a while. It felt like it was just like that. But only better because it didn't take 5 minutes like Triple H did. It only took like maybe...
It was almost like you were waiting for the Flair flop. I mean,
right.
I was waiting for it to go face forward,
But with the chick kick, Mickie James and Alicia Fox would fall to Trish Stratus and Lita. Honestly, one of the best ways to open up a show. Holy cow. Just give me everything. Holy crap.
Yeah, I thought it was an amazing match. And I don't know if you did this as you were watching, but I was kind of giving them letter grades.
I did.
And actually, this was a B+. And only because of a couple of miscues did it not get an A. But I thought it was an amazing match, a great way to start off the pay-per-view. And just a good, clean, fought match. There wasn't a lot of shenanigans going on.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I gave it an A-. I thought everything throughout the matchup was really good. They told a really good story. And it was just that final spot that would have made it probably match of the night that kind of killed it for me. But it was, again, one of the best matches of the night. I think I would say second best match of the entire evening. Again, great to see Trish and Lita back in the ring, and they put on one hell of a matchup. Now, let's talk about the next matchup, which I dubbed it the we didn't have a place for you on the card Battle Royal, in which the winner of this matchup would receive a women's championship match. Everybody got an entrance. It was kind of nice, actually. It's one of those things where it didn't feel rushed. It didn't feel anything. Although I will say this, I think they gave Naomi just a little bit too much time. If they would have done anything, I know they were announcing the whole announce crew and blah, 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 but they could have had that done for one part and then just have another woman come out and still continue on from that. That's just my opinion.
Right, and I thought Naomi got a really long time, and so did the Iconics, which was upsetting. I'm not an Iconics fan, and I just thought that I didn't understand why they got that time. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that it's just kind of one of those things where, and oh gosh, I'll talk about one of the comments in just a minute, but it was kind of one of those things where they really did need some kind of heat where it made sense. It's just one of those things where the Iconics are really good at generating heat. They needed somebody to do that. And honestly, I still love when they do the whole Iconic deal and almost like a hurricane pose where they just expose their bellies. That's just funny. That's just entertaining right there. A lot of people entered into this. Another fan of ours mentioned the Crash Holly walk that Molly Holly did. I did not know that until he mentioned that. I'm like, oh no, don't make me cry. God. Crash Holly, you were a gem. You were taken away from us too soon, dude. Too soon. But it was great to see people like Molly Holly, Michelle McCool, Kelly involved, Max Beauty's favorite wrestler.
My favorite diva was in this as well, Tori Wilson.
Oh my gosh,
hands down. She was. Now we're going to talk looks here. She was the hottest diva back in the day, as far as I was concerned. End of story.
I think a lot of people definitely had fantasies when it came to Tori Wilson. She was, she wasn't like the most athletic, but something about her just really drew you to her. Maybe it was her looks, maybe it was just her personality. There's just always something about her that made you appreciated all the work that she put in. She did absolutely amazing. Like they said, they just brought in so many women. Of course, women from SmackDown, from Raw. Everybody actually had a pretty good chance to shine. It was great. Iconics, of course, got eliminated like immediately, which I thought was one of the best highlights of that entire Battle Royal. It's like, well, you're going to talk smack. Here comes your elimination. Bye-bye. But then immediately we followed up with something that was absolutely amazing, which was having the past meeting the present. The past superstars are in the center of the ring, and they're being surrounded by women of the present. That was just a cool moment.
And then the shit just hit the fan. I mean, they went at it. But what was your favorite elimination of all of them?
Oh gosh, out of all of these, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think about some of the people out there that really kind of stood out.
Well, you think about it, and I'll tell you mine, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So my favorite one was when Mandy Rose eliminated Sonya Deville.
Oh God, I hate that blonde now. I really do. It's like, you eliminated your best friend. I hate you right now. So that's my least favorite elimination.
I'm wondering if they're setting up a split of those two to put them into singles competition.
I hope so. Sonya Deville, I believe, is going to be a women's champion in the future. It's just now getting a matter of them saying, hey, we're going to put faith in you. We're putting you in a singles run. Because she can go. She can wrestle. Mic work, might need a little work, but, other than that, she is definitely the total package. Oh, gosh. I'm still trying to think of, the best one there. Honestly, I think I might go with one that kind of spooked me, but also was really awesome because the build-up was amazing. We thought it was the final two ended up being Nia Jax and Ember Moon, but the moment where they're both on the apron, they're both fighting each other, and then here comes my girl Zelina Vega, aka Thea Trinidad. She comes in, she thinks like, oh, I got them eliminated, they're gone. I'm like, oh my gosh, if she wins, I would literally have my jaw on the ground, like, what the actual hell just happened here? But, just seeing her get that, gorilla press getting thrown out, that was a really good elimination spot. Although I am a little concerned about Tamina because I thought that maybe she got thrown out way too fast or something like that, and she might hit Tamina in the face. It was one of those things where like, oh, that just sucked. That just sucked. But I will say,
if you see my notes here,
I
wrote down all 20 women. And I wrote down the order that they were being eliminated in, and they kept going, there's only 4 left. And I'm like, Zelina Vega has not been eliminated yet. I'm like, so, how do they, and then she comes in when there's only 2 left, and I'm like, aha, I knew it. I caught the fact that she hadn't been eliminated yet. Because they were very careful about their eliminations, and they made very clear each time somebody was eliminated. You know?
Yeah, that is true.
The 50-man, like the 50-man Royal Rumbles, where the first 12 people that are eliminated, they like pick 4, and they're like, okay, these guys got eliminated, you know, and you just got to kind of guess the rest. But what did you think about the quadplex, or the 8-person suplex, or whatever you want to call it?
That was a really good spot. I love when they do it, and having them do it in this battle royal, where you had, of course, the women of the past, women of the future doing it. It's just absolutely amazing. I also loved the the person mentioned it. I was going to mention the deal where Nia Jax and Tamina, they had that stare down deal, and immediately after they had that stare down, Nia did that whole like ooh ah, and I'm like, did she just do a tribute to Roman Reigns? Okay, that's amazing. That is awesome. That was just one of those nice little moments in the matchup where it's like, okay, I'm totally okay with this. This is really cool.
Right.
I'm trying to think of some other highlights that were involved in here. Honestly, all the women that were in this were really amazing. I did make a comment on Twitter saying, if somehow R-Truth gets involved and eliminates Carmella, I will literally bust a nut, because that should not happen. But they were just promoting the whole deal. It's like, oh, well, R-Truth is in the arena. Oh, R-Truth is in the crowd. I'm like, oh my god, it's going to happen, isn't it? It's seriously going to happen. But nope.
Pre-game show. I don't know if you saw that part of the pre-show, but he was on the pre-show too.
He was. I honestly almost confused him for Velveteen Dream for some reason, but it was with him and Carmella's mom. I was like, what? It's R-Truth. Just go with it.
So now, what did you think of Nia Jax winning the whole thing?
Actually, it was kind of a shock to me, because I had my predictions with King Ricky a while ago. A few days ago, and we were predicting Ember Moon and Asuka would win this, because they were probably like odds-on favorite. Nia Jax winning it honestly was one of those situations that it surprised me. It didn't upset me even, really. It was just one of those things where I'm like, that's a bit of an interesting idea. Okay, that's interesting. But then again, when you think about it, it does actually make sense, because I don't know if she really got. I will say this, that it actually makes more sense when we talk about the main event. Honestly, I'm okay with it. I am totally fine with having Nia Jax as the winner. Would I have preferred my girl Asuka to win? Yes, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, anybody could have won, and it would have been totally fine. Hell, Ivory was the longest one in there out of all the women from the past, and it was awesome.
Yeah, she was eliminated 15th, so...
Yeah, she definitely held her own, and that says a lot of how much, faith
in it. The only thing that bothers me, or the only thing I didn't like about Nia Jax winning, was the fact that Ember Moon didn't win.
Well,
and I don't feel like they're using Ember Moon right. And I'm going to whine about it, because I feel that way about it. It's like, every time she gets close to some sort of a push or something, they just kind of like, no.
Yeah, that is true. And honestly, I almost forgot. I honestly thought when Ivory was going to do like the dance off with Carmella, I was honestly expecting like a right to censor thing to just go right off during that entire thing. Oh my god, that would have been amazing. I literally would have just cried laughing, like, yes, we got a right to censor moment here on WWE Evolution. But
as far as grading this one, I gave this a grade that I will probably never give another Battle Royal match ever.
All right.
But I just thought the spots and everything in it was just really good. I gave it an A. I gave this match an A.
Very nice. I gave it a B+. I still think it was a really good matchup. There were probably a couple spots here and there where it just kind of did seem like they did have botch, but they did work with what they had. I mean, I think one botch that kind of stood out to me was the deal where Nia Jax get hits with the Tornado DT by Ember Moon. That was a good spot. But then they had Carmella try to do a head scissors deal, and that just kind of got really... It kind of stopped the flow of the match up there, which sucks. But it was awkward, but they did what they could. But honestly, I'm still happy with how the Battle Royal went. It was really good. All right, next matchup on here was the finals of the Mae Young Classic. We had Toni Storm taking Io Shirai. Honestly, the build-up between these two women is really good. I loved the story that they told about Toni Storm, where she said, I was this close to making it to the finals, and I came up short. This year, now I'm in the finals, and I have an opportunity to basically redeem myself. And Io Shirai, she's, basically being told, hey, I'm the best woman in Japan, and she's basically getting all this credit, well deserved during this matchup, by the way, because holy cow, this matchup was really good.
It was amazing. Now, I will be honest, I did not follow the Mae Young Classic at all this year.
I got bits and pieces, so I understand.
I have never seen these two women wrestle before. So I was like a brand new fan. And I'm hooked. Dude, NXT UK is going to start getting watched as well as Io's on just NXT, correct?
Io Shirai, I think, is also on NXT, yeah. And I know that Toni Storm, she's on NXT UK. Yes.
Yep.
Which I think I watched her my first match with her. I actually watched not through the Mae Young Classic, but actually through the NXT UK show, and she was really good. It was one of those things where I'm like, oh, I'm looking forward to seeing what she does, and now I'll get to see her in the finals. Oh wow, she does absolutely amazing in this matchup. A lot of fast-paced movements during this matchup. Io Shirai hit a 619, which was beautiful. Loved it. She's doing...
Yeah, but, that was cool, but I'll tell you, her moonsault to the outside was executed perfectly. The German suplex that Toni gave to Io...
Oh, my God.
That looked painful.
God, anytime that they do any move on that side apron, I feel like it hurts more than it should. Because if you're doing it in the middle of the ring, that's one thing. But it feels like there's an extra element when you do it at the side of the ring. It just seems like...
they sell it to us as that's the hardest part of the ring, and it probably is. It's probably at least the stiffest part of the ring. But, I like the Tiger Driver that Toni Storm did. They call it, Storm Zero?
Yeah, I think Storm Zero was right.
But it's a Tiger Driver. And she had to hit two of those to keep Io down. I don't know. I really enjoyed this match. This one really kept my head in the game. I didn't really wander at all in this one. So that's always a good sign.
Definitely. And honestly, you incorporate this matchup in here, and you also had a couple of Mae Young Classic contender participants in the audience. One was, of course, Tegan Nox. Tegan Nox definitely, again, cannot say this enough. Hopefully you get better. We would love to see you back in the ring again. That whole deal that happened during the Mae Young Classic was a freak accident, and hopefully, this brings you back stronger, better than ever. And also, Rhea Ripley was also in there, and everybody really noticed this, that while all the other competitors were, they were clapping, they were happy, Rhea Ripley is just standing there just going...
Yeah, she looked absolutely pissed.
She did.
Like, it's in my contract, I have to clap.
It was just a very slow clap. It's just one of those things where it's like, wow, she really is trying to be hated, isn't she? Well, mission accomplished in this fact. Yeah, as you mentioned, Toni Storm hitting two O-Storms for the victory to become the 2018 Mae Young Classic winner. Of course, we had Stephanie McMahon, Triple H in the ring. They're handing the flowers, they're handing the trophies. It's one of those things where I'm always worried with that trophy like that. It's so beautiful, but it looks so fragile that you accidentally break it, and then you're just going to break the internet. No problem.
So I thought it was kind of odd that, and they never do this any other time, is that when the match was done, okay, they congratulated each other. I'm fine with that. But then they stood the women up like it was a boxing match, and the ref was like, grabs both of their hands and then lifts Tony's hand and points at her, and I'm like, are we doing boxing now?
Well, that's kind of something they've been doing. It started off in the Cruiserweight Classic where they did that, where they had the tournament, and every single time a match ended, that's when they did that. Now for the Mae Young Classic, they're doing that for the women. So I think it's an exclusive deal where they know that these women are working really hard. I mean, it's like an 8-week tournament, I believe it is.
Right, yeah.
And I think they're just trying to hold to the tradition, as well as just continuing to show the respect for these women by keeping that. that's just my opinion on it. Would it be cool to see that happen with, every match? Well, maybe, but at the same time, it's just one of those things where it's like, that's what makes the Mae Young Classic so special, is that you don't see some of the classic stuff you would see with a lot of these other matches. So
right. So fair enough. I gave this one an A as well. I thought this was a great match.
I think the only issue I had with this match was that it felt shorter than it should have been, so that's why I gave it another B+. Still a really good matchup, actually no botches whatsoever, but still, it's just one of those things where I'm like, it could have gone maybe just a tad bit longer, in my opinion. But again, awesome matchup. These women have definitely nothing to be ashamed of. Definitely a huge fan of Io Shirai, and Toni Storm can now go back to NXT UK with the Mae Young Classic trophy, and she's definitely going to be one of those women that a lot of people are going to be expecting. Oh, she's going to be the champion. She's going to be the champion, or she's going to be the high profile babyface that the women's division needs, which is great to have. And that was something that I predicted, was that they need to have a huge stay in the women's division to really build it up, especially if they're going to have a women's championship. So really good to see that. All right, we go on to the next matchup, which I think was going to be one of those matches that I had very low expectations for. I was thinking to myself, oh great, this is another match we've seen a billion times. The 6 women's tags, again, which featured the Riot Squad taking on the team of Natalya, Bayley, and Sasha, as I usually like to call them, Team Boss Hugging Kitten. Whatever I called them, I forgot what they were called, but it's just a random combination. I will also say this, that one of the things I've noticed definitely with a lot of these matches here were the fact that was that some of them actually definitely celebrate a lot of Halloween stuff. And during this matchup, you see who was it? You saw the Riot Squad coming out in a lot of the horror movie deals. You saw Ruby Riott coming out as Jigsaw. Liv Morgan came out as Pennywise. I'm trying to remember, who did Sarah Logan came out as? Do you remember them mentioning who?
No, I don't. It almost looked like Viking makeup. I don't know if she was being anything particular other than a Viking.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, honestly, this six-woman tag definitely exceeded expectations. I thought, oh right, Scarface. I think that was who she was dressed up as beforehand.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, the 6-woman tag was just amazing. I honestly thought to myself, this matchup is more amazing than it needs to be, because we've seen it so many times, but it felt like they upped their game so much more during this matchup. Definitely told the story great with Bayley and Sasha. They continued that. Another thing that they definitely did was just continue to really build up the Riot Squad, who have absolutely looked amazing. And, Natty's involved there too. A lot of really good spots. I mean, they threw the heart attack in this matchup. A really great tag team move. And honestly, now people can't complain, because it's like, well, she's a part of the Hart family, so she can use the heart attack if she wants to. Just shut up if you're complaining about that.
Right. I don't know. This was not that great of a match to me. I mean, it was a good match, don't get me wrong. But there was something about it, it was one of those that didn't really keep my attention all that much. Okay. Because I already knew who was going to win. Because the Riot Squad, a lot like certain other women on the roster, continually, they look strong and then they get shit on. So I kind of knew what was going to happen already. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a big Natty fan. I have been for a long time. She's been around a long time. And I'm glad she won. But it's like, I'm sick of hearing about the Bayley-Sasha whole, Michael Cole always trying to make everybody think they're going to turn on each other every second of every, match. And it just, to me, I don't know. It didn't really resonate with me. Like I said, good technical match. I don't think there was any real botches I saw, but it just didn't play well to me, I guess.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. There were some spots where it did kind of drag a little bit, but at the same time, it definitely did capitalize on that by having the Riot Squad kind of take over for most of it, because there was a lot of points where I never seen this in a lot of 6 person tags where you literally see like one side is completely full and the other side is just completely empty. It was one of those like small deals where I'm like, this is new, this is different, because usually there's at least one person up there. Not this time around. No, there's nobody there, because either Bayley or Sasha or Natty were out on the floor or doing something like that. Honestly, like I said, it was still a really good spot. But honestly, spot of the night probably has to go to Sasha Banks, because oh my god, this was one of those moments where I'm like, no, please, no more killing Sasha, please. She does not need this anymore. Sasha was going for a flip on the outside. The Riot Squad caught her, and then they just threw her into the barricade. It was almost like neck first into that. That was one of those moments where I'm like, no, please stop it. She does not need these kind of deals.
When that happened, my wife was up sitting here on the couch next to me, and she said, oh my god, that's brutal. And then instantly, Renee Young's like, that was brutal. And I'm like, see, I told you.
That just was one of those spots where it's like, that does not need to happen. But again, it told a really good story, because now Sasha has to basically build up to the tag deal. The finish I thought was pretty good. We saw Natty hit a power bomb, Bayley hit the elbow, and then we see Sasha Banks paying homage to Eddie Guerrero with a beautiful frog splash for the victory. A lot of really good stuff during this deal. There was a moment where I thought that maybe Bayley, Sasha, and Natty were going to lose, because they did the whole backstabber into the Bayley to belly. Bayley goes for the cover, 1-2. Liv actually pushes Sasha onto Bayley, and I thought to myself, oh no, we're going to get the turn, aren't we? But the match ended, I'm like, they didn't get a turn, so Bayley basically didn't overreact. Okay, I'm okay with this. Another spot was Sasha was getting set up for like a diving senton, and Bayley actually took the bullet for Sasha, which I thought was another really good storytelling moment there. Loved it.
Right, yep.
A lot of really good stuff during this matchup. Grading-wise, I gave it another B+. Again, it's one of those matches I actually enjoyed, because even though we saw it 1,000 times, it's one of those matches where it's like, okay, we've seen this match 1,000 times, but this is a match you're just going to remember because it was awesome. So definitely they found a way to give it like a Lucha Underground feel to it. It was awesome. I loved it.
Okay, well, I gave that one a B. That is to me, that was the worst match of the night. So it doesn't get any worse than a B. So if that tells you anything about this pay-per-view, it was, my God, I keep going back and I'm thinking like, oh, that, and oh my God, that, and but yeah, no, I gave it a B. Still very, very good match.
Yeah. Then we go on to our 3 championship matches. So they literally just said, okay, we got the regular matches out of the way. Let's focus on the championships. So we kicked it off with our championship parade, I guess we'll call it, with the NXT Women's Championship. Kairi Sane taking on Shayna Baszler. First of all, jeez Louise, the entrances for Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane definitely stood out, because Shayna Baszler, her music starts off with a horse. And I thought to myself, so she's kind of like the workhorse of the women's division in NXT, something like that. I don't know. It was one of those things where I'm like, that's new, that's interesting. Okay, that's kind of cool. Then we get into Kairi Sane's entrance, and she starts off with basically a storm. I'm like, okay, so because she's a pirate, she's weathering the storm, ship deal. I got it. And I also love the fact that Ricky kind of pointed this out when we were doing the predictions, that Kairi Sane actually keeps the championship in a treasure chest. How cool is that? And how much does that make the championship feel so much more prestigious? That basically it's just like, yes, we are comparing the championship to a hidden treasure that can be found by only certain people. That is absolutely amazing. She is definitely the pirate princess. Love Kairi Sane. The match itself, I watched bits and pieces of it only because my network was faulting in and out on my Xbox, but from what I saw, this was probably one of the most brutal matches of the night. Not the most, but one of them.
Yeah. When I heard the horses on the entrance, I thought the 4 horsewomen. And then we got to see all 4 of them tonight.
This is true.
So I don't know what they're doing with the other 2, but the arm work that Shayna did to Kyrie. Every time she does that, where she'll twist that arm up and then she'll step on the hand, or look like she steps on the hand, or whatever it is, I flinch every time. Because I'm just like, that just is, your arm shouldn't look like that to begin with. And, I thought this could have been such a better match without the other women getting involved. Because it took that. Now, for Shayna to beat Kairi Sane, she had to have help. And I don't know if they're going to play that up in NXT or not, or if this is Kairi dropping it because they're going to bring her up to the main roster and misuse her like every other woman they bring up to the main roster. I don't know. But I really enjoyed the match. I really enjoyed certain parts of it. I thought it was kind of neat that Shayna got the win through a chokeout. I mean, that was kind of neat. There were some spots in this one with Kyrie with that huge crossbody off the top of the ring to the outside. I don't know if they saw that when yours was cutting in and out.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
Spot.
Yeah, that was a really amazing spot there. You mentioned the other 2 horsewomen getting involved. I want to try and see if I can find their names really quick. But I do agree with you on the finish there. I thought that it could have been a really good spot. I mean, I thought it could have been really good to see them actually have a really good competitive deal. If Shayna Baszler was going to win, then it should have been by maybe her own shenanigans or something like that. But they involve Jasmine Duke and Marina Shafir in this, and I felt like it just tainted it just a little bit. It was one of those things where, for me, this was the worst match of the night because of the finish. That was.
I could see that argument too. I gave it a B+, but
it's like we went opposite directions. I gave it a B. So again, like you said,
it's one of those things that I even wrote in my notes. I'm like, what is it with this interference bullshit? That's what really bugged me about the whole match. Otherwise, I thought it was a really good match.
No, I definitely agree with you.
Shayna Baszler being the champ, though.
She made history. She's the first ever 2-time NXT Women's Champion. So,
True.
So history was indeed made tonight. Speaking of history, that goes into the next matchup, which, in my opinion, definitely should have been the main event. But I'm still happy with the card as it was.
I'm glad you agree with me on that one, that should have been the main event. But anyway, go on.
The last woman standing matchup for the SmackDown Women's Championship, Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. To quote the great Mauro Ranallo, Mamma Mia, holy cow, everything you could ever want in a last woman standing matchup was absolutely amazing. And unfortunately, Max, Agent Cooper, your theory is still true. Anytime that Charlotte wears gold, she loses. It's somehow just a really sad fact that every time she wears gold, she ends up losing, whether it's a championship or just losing a matchup. Charlotte, stop wearing gold. It's not working for you. That color's cursed.
On purpose. I wonder if it reminds her while she's on her way to the ring that she's going to lose or something. I don't know.
Well, you make a fair point there. But honestly, really good basic wrestling for the first, I would say, 5-10 minutes of the matchup. Then the rest just literally is just like, yep, we're bringing in the weapons. Kendo sticks, chairs, tables, ladders. A lot of really good spots involved here. Charlotte doing a back suplex to Becky Lynch on chairs was just absolutely brutal. Her hitting the... what is it? Honestly, this surprised me when Charlotte hit a swanton bomb on Becky Lynch to a table. That just... I was like, wait, so she did this somersault. Okay, she's doing a Hardy Boy swanton bomb. Yeah. Charlotte is overrated, you said. No, she is versatile, and she hit that very well.
Yeah, the huge leg drop off the ladder from Becky to Charlotte through the announce table. That just looked painful, dude.
The burial that Becky was trying to do on Charlotte, that was great. I loved especially the storytelling throughout the matchup. Becky's just trying to be, ruthless. She's trying to be aggressive. Charlotte is basically just showing, whatever you got, I can take it, and then I can give it back. The figure eights deal that they did with the ladder, I thought that was another really good spot. And Becky, you just hear her just screaming out. She's tapping, and of course everybody's just saying, there's no tap outs in Last Man Standings. What are you doing? But of course she got out with the steel chair. The closing moments where you see Becky Lynch just completely in shock and also having fear on her face as Charlotte is getting up, and she has that face of like, I am literally going to kill you. She just goes after Becky, hits kendo stick shots, a spear. Then we get to the final moments in which we think we're going to see Charlotte Flair go for like a moonsault or something on Becky through a table, but Becky gets up, hits the powerbomb on Charlotte for the final 10 count. Honestly, I thought that matchup was going to keep going. It's like, literally, if these two women go on for a full hour, I would not be surprised. And honestly, there's a part of me that wished that it did, that they just kept going and just kept telling that story of like, Charlotte's heart is just so hell-bent on getting the championship back, and Becky is just a ruthless, aggressive woman who just will do anything to keep her title. It's just really good storytelling between the two of them.
Absolutely. I absolutely love this Becky Lynch, too. I love the heel that gets cheered by everybody but doesn't care and still is a heel Becky Lynch. The kendo sticks, the chairs, the ladders, oh my God, it was like watching something almost out of the Attitude Era without the blood, Mm-hmm.
No, I definitely do agree.
It was crazy. For me, this was the match of the night.
This
one, I gave this match an A+, dude. I don't care. This is one that's going to be talked about for a long time. Not only because it's the first last woman standing, first last woman standing match ever, but it was just amazing. And if they do Evolution again next year, which I don't see why they wouldn't, how do they top this year?
Oh, boy. That's a good question. First of all, we're both in agreement on the grading as well as the fact that this was match of the night. Honestly, if they take everything into consideration storyline-wise, match-wise, I would definitely make the argument that this could be a match of the year contender because it was absolutely amazing. I know they've had a lot of stuff on NXT that were really good, but this is one of those matches for on the main roster. It just stands out so well because everything from the pacing to the wrestling to the brutality of it, everything on this just really stood out. It was really good, and now, honestly, I think that this is going to be the final chapter for Becky Lynch and Charlotte for now until they probably move on and maybe they'll lock up again. Honestly, I see this almost as the women's version of Rock and Austin, where you see them kind of wrestling a lot now, but later down the line, you're more than excited to see them because then you just remember those matches. You're thinking, oh, we want more. We want more. How are they going to top it this time? How are they going to top it this time? And I'm looking forward to seeing, where Charlotte goes from here, and I'm looking forward to seeing where Becky goes from here. Honestly, I'm hoping maybe we get Becky Lynch versus Asuka because, I think a lot of people want to see that. And
I want to see that.
It would just, oh my God, my eyes will melt out of my skull just seeing that. Just an absolutely amazing matchup. We go on to the main event.
What I'd be interested to see?
What's up?
What I'll be interested to see is tomorrow or the next day when Dave Meltzer comes out with his star ratings for all these. I'm going to be curious to see what he star rates this match.
Honestly, if it's lower than a 4 or 4.5 star rating, fuck Dave Meltzer. I'm done with him. that is literally how...
I mean, I'm not expecting, like a 6-star or the fabled 7-star, but this is definitely a 4 or 4.5 star match.
Definitely.
Easy.
Definitely. If it gets 5 stars, I will be happy. I will apologize publicly to Dave Meltzer for what I said, and I will say, okay, that's fine. But, like I said, if it's lower than I'm going to say this. If it's lower than a 4.5, 5-star rating, I will still say it. It's one of those things where it's like, what could you possibly have wrong with this matchup? Now, obviously, going from that to the main event, the Raw Women's Championship, the matchup that a lot of people didn't want to see, but then after the build-up, this was one of the better built matches. And honestly, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, this breaks the tie now, because we had a great promo from Ronda, a great promo from Nikki. Now we see these two going at each other. Honestly, there was so much of me that I was just saying, please, for the love of God, don't put it on Nikki. Don't put it on Nikki. If it would have happened, I wouldn't have been upset, but it would have been one of those things where I would have had to literally hear one of my friends rant with ants, just continually saying, I told everyone, be like, you are blocked on Twitter at least for a month, dude. I don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear it, okay?
All I do have to say, the one move out of this that totally took me by shock was Nikki Bella with that Alabama slam.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It kind of just came out of nowhere. But it was a really good transition. Ronda's trying to pick up Nikki, and then Nikki's just like, nope. Alabama slammer. Loved it. Just absolutely great.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of good. I mean, you kind of had the feeling that this was the way the match was going to go.
Right.
Ronda was going to get her ass kicked for 75% of the match. Then she's going to stand up. She's going to hit herself in the chest a couple times in the arm, and it's going to be over.
Yeah.
You knew Brie was going to get involved. But there looked like some nasty shots, those shots into the ring post from the outside and stuff like that. I mean, Ronda Rousey had a gash in her forehead. I mean, on her face. So.
Oh, is that what that was? Because I thought it was like smeared lipstick from Nikki that was put on there. But, jeez.
Oh, maybe it was. It looked to me like her cheek was cut and like she had scraped like her forehead. And the only place I could see that really happening was on those post shots. So maybe it was lipstick. I don't know.
Yeah, but honestly, Nikki definitely impressed me. This was, in my opinion, probably her best matchup of her entire career. She looked absolutely phenomenal during this matchup. I think Ronda did a great job of just selling a lot of the moves that she did, and everything just flowed very well. From the deal where she does her, springboard kick to the face, to her applying an abdominal stretch. Oh my God, that abdominal stretch was really done well. I was very surprised by that. To everything that she did to Ronda just really stood out. I was just like, wow, she's really coming into her own, and this was one of those matches she needed to, I think, cement her legacy. Even though people say, well, she already had a legacy. It's this, that, it's with being with Cena. It's having 2 shows. It's blah 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 blah. It's like, well, if she wanted to cement her wrestling legacy, this is one of those matches that I would say to them, if you think that she's all peaches and cream and just a pretty face, look at this matchup that she had with Ronda Rousey, and you will see otherwise.
Oh yeah, she held her own absolutely. And they both made it look good, which is something that doesn't always happen. But the move that made me kind of sit in my chair and gasp was when Rousey did that small package from the top rope at the end.
Oh my gosh, that's right. Jeez.
I saw that, and I'm like, oh my, because that looked like either one of them could have gotten hurt. I mean, if that would have been off in either way, somebody could have got hurt there. And then the armbar, I'm so disappointed in the armbar application now, because obviously she's not doing a real armbar because she's not in UFC anymore, but the last couple times she's put the armbar on somebody, they're tapping out and their arms aren't even straight out. They're just like, they're kind of like in that L shape, and it's just kind of like, you got to do a little better than that, And I get it. They don't want to hurt anybody. They don't want Ronda to, break an elbow, pop a joint. I get it to anybody else. But it's just like, come on, at least put their arms out straight before they start tapping. It's like, because then she tapped out, she grabbed her arm right away, and I'm like, why? It shouldn't even be sore.
Right. No, I totally get it. I totally understand what you mean. Yeah, like you said, there's a lot of really good highlights during this deal. The double deal where Ronda hits her, I guess, whatever we want to call it, the Ronda Slam, the Ronda Bomb, whatever they call it, the Rousey Ride, whatever they call it for a move, hitting both of them on the Bella Twins was just absolutely amazing. Really good stuff in there. And honestly, you guys, I do apologize for anybody that I got super drunk for making that drinking rule of take a shot every single time somebody says, "Come on, Nikki." But I will say this: hearing Ronda Rousey say the phrase "Come on, Nikki" was funny. I'm like, I would take a shot for that. I don't care. It's not Brie for once, so we're getting. So it's like I'll take 2 shots for that. Are you kidding me? That was actually pretty entertaining. Where she just literally is like, "Come on, Nikki." She's just ready to go. She's ready to just kill. And I'm like, oh man, this match was just so good. I actually almost forgot to give this one a score. Honestly, I think it was I think it was more of an entertaining aspect more than a wrestling aspect, but still it was a really good matchup nonetheless. I actually think I'll give this one. I'm going to give it an A-. I think it was still a really good matchup. No botches. It was the right amount of time. It really favored everybody. I think it just was a better match that a lot of people definitely had. I thought it was one of the best matches to main event, but I still stand by saying the last woman standing match should have been the main event.
Look at that. That's the rating I gave it.
Really?
A-.
Wow.
We matched on that one.
Yay!
Yeah, I thought it was a great match. Yeah, it wasn't as technical of a wrestling match, but let's be honest, the Bellas were never really technical wrestlers, and Rousey is still learning wrestling. You know, you put her in an octagon, sure, she knows what she's doing. She's learning wrestling yet. And that's one of the reasons I've had the issue with her having the belt. But if they can keep pulling off matches like this while she learns the craft, I'm all good. I'm okay with it.
No doubt. So, all right. Now we go on to the big question. Final grading for this event here. How do we think that Evolution, first time ever, all-women's pay-per-view in WWE goes? I'm giving it a solid A. I think that this was probably the best show that WWE has put on all year. Second would be, of course, Hell in the Cell. Like we mentioned, we definitely thought it was a really good show. Like I said, I didn't like the finish, how the main event happened. But honestly, from bell to bell, first to last, like I said, nothing really to majorly complain about. I didn't have issues with people, winning. Everybody fought like their life depended on it, which I think made for a better show, in my opinion. But honestly, it was absolutely amazing.
And I'm really close. Overall, I said I give it an A-, which is still a very high rating for any show. Bell to bell, it was really good. I just thought that there isn't much room to improve, but there's room to improve.
Right.
And I think what really drew it down was that 6-woman match. I know you really enjoyed it. That's the one place in the entire night that I just kind of lost interest in it all, because it's like, we've seen it. And I knew what was going to happen, and that doesn't help either.
Yeah, I totally understand that. But yeah, like we said, overall thoughts on Evolution was that, again, absolutely phenomenal night, really good, and honestly, please give us more. Honestly, if you did this like twice a year, I don't think anybody would complain about it.
I wouldn't. I'd watch this type of a pay-per-view twice a year in a heartbeat.
And honestly, if they did like the NXT takeovers and just had like, WWE Evolution, maybe it's like Redemption or Evolution, Takeover or something like that. If they did like some kind of name underneath it, I think it would make for an absolutely outstanding event. Now, of course, people are probably going to say, but that's Triple H's idea. That should only be takeovers. The women are part of a revolution. Why not give them something cool? Why not give them something interesting? So that's just my opinion. It's going to be better than doing...
NXT was part of this, so if you continue having NXT as part of it, I think subtitling them are fine.
Sweet. All right. So with that being said, before we go, guys, I do have the results for the Game Changer Championship match between Mr. Fretz as well as Mr. Nick Marvin. You guys both ended in a tie. It was one of those things where I'm like, really? We're ending this in a tie? Oh, gosh, because I think it was like 3-3, if I'm not mistaken, on the two. So a rematch is definitely going to need to happen. I am going to make the executive decision and say that it will happen at Survivor Series, guys. It is going to happen then. You guys are going to have your rematch, and it's going to be a deal in which there will not be a tiebreaker. I will ensure that. There was also another tie during this event, which included myself and King Ricky. Now, I actually said this before the show. Yep, that's what it is, Freds. We're doing it at Survivor Series because Crown Jewel can just suck it. No major pun intended. I know DX is a part of that card. But also the tie between me and King Ricky happened as well. I originally had the idea of having a draw, basically, in which we both had a feeling that maybe our women aren't going to win. So I sent to him before the event. Before the event even happened, I sent him a message. But I know he was at Evolution, and I understand this. But at the same time, I said to him before the event even started, "Hey, do you want to just do it like whoever got closest, wins as far as Battle Royal winner wise?" He would have won, but he sent me a message said works for me as soon as the night was over. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, no, we're not doing that now. We're not doing it like that. So, King Ricky, if you're listening to this, I have a proposal for you, and that is, unfortunately, I think we're going to have to do the tiebreaker at Crown Jewel. We pick one person out of the entire Crown Jewel tournament, the World Cup as they're calling it, to win the whole thing. Whoever wins it will win it all. We'll have to do the challenge because, yeah, you have to remember that I'm still the one that makes the rules for that. And I'm not going to do another deal where it's like me and Dave where we ended up both doing it. I want to break the tie. We do it at Crown Jewel. That's the way I see it. Let me know your response because I think a lot of people definitely want to see you eating a nice little spicy habanero. So, with that being said, I want to thank you, Mr. Chad, for your time, and thank you so much for doing this review with me. Always great to have you on.
Man. I love doing these.
I love
doing these. Looking forward to next month.
Next month, which will indeed be Survivor Series, because fuck Crown Jewel. That thing can just go die in a hole. But yeah, there's a lot that's going to be coming on, you guys. Of course, I've mentioned the fantasy booking 12 days deal will be taking place in December. You still have time to give your suggestions of what I should fantasy book all the way until November 15th, because then that way I can take time to actually write some of these stories. I still have quite a bit of openings, so feel free to leave your suggestions, you guys. Also, a lot is going on over the next few months. Of course, we have Crown Jewel. Not very excited. Survivor Series is happening a few weeks away. Also, I need to mention this too. Before Survivor Series, myself and Mr. Fretz, we're actually going to be doing a review show on the Deadly Games tournament for Survivor Series 1998. So we'll be talking about that event. That's going to be awesome. And also TLC to end the show. But still a lot more podcasting, still a lot more stuff going on, you guys. You know where to find us on Facebook.com/Changing Up the Game. Follow me on Twitter at RealFNGame. Chad, do you have a Twitter?
I do. It's for my musically challenged podcast, but it's at MC Podcast 17. 18. No, 17. 17. Yeah, sure.
Somewhere between the range of 17 and 18, something like that.
If you find the devil fingers in bone, that's us. So.
All right. So you can follow him on that, guys. Thank you so much for joining us here for the post-reaction deal for WWE Evolution. It was a night to remember, and it will be a night that we shan't forget that easily. Thank you so much, you guys, and we will talk to you guys in the next episode. Adios, goodbye. Women's wrestling at its finest tonight. Thank you, God, also, that Ant does not get Nikki as champion.